Alright, I think this should be working. Yep, we're on the grind again today. Hopefully we'll get another epiphany and things will make better sense today too. Let's see. So what I figured out yesterday is that, oops, if you do the 3 circles, you get like the masses of the person. And then from this, you can basically capture more of the form. Of course, it doesn't get everything, but it helps a lot. Let's see what to talk about today. Yesterday I went on a whole thing about skill acquisition. Today, what do we yap about today? Maybe let's think about sleep. I don't get enough sleep usually. I always wonder why. Because I end up going to sleep and laying in bed at a proper time. I also don't use my phone when I sleep too. I wonder if it's maybe a temperature thing, since my house is actually a bit too warm from the weather down here, and then also because the AC is actually too loud for me. I usually sleep with it off, but I guess maybe that's why it's too much, or why I don't get good enough sleep. I don't know. Experimentation is the name of the game. Oh, speaking of experimentation, I guess we're just gonna go back to the learning and skill acquisition topic. But I really think that experimenting will get you better and faster results than doing the same thing over and over again. Like, that's why I'm doing all of these different poses instead of just drawing one picture over and over again. Although there's something to be said about repeating something enough times and replicating it. I think if you're just starting out, you want to get exposure to as much or to as many things as you can, since that will allow you to build your visual memory and basically the instinct or intuition for what is correct and what is not correct. Because at the beginning of learning any skill, you know nothing. And the fastest way to know things is to literally see more things. If you just focus on one aspect or attempt over and over again, though, you aren't learning new things. Sure, you'll probably master that one thing, but it's like, how do you know that's what you need to master? In short, experiment, vary, and get as many data points as possible. Trying out the 3 mass things. My gesture drawings are getting a bit sloppier, I think. Like they don't look as good. But I think it captures more of the proper action. Anyways, I guess we can talk about writing today. So, As might be apparent from my description, I am an author VTuber, whatever that is categorized as. I just mostly write in my free time. But I'm also trying to learn how to draw because I want to be able to turn my stories into visual form. Like, words are good and all, but it's just so much cooler being able to see the story that's being written about. Not to mention that it's much easier to, or at least more time consuming, or less time consuming, to sketch out a short panel or a series of panels for a comic than it is to write literally like 10,000 words. Maybe the time investment's the same, but I think just in terms of like total effort, if you do everything right, it's probably less. Not to mention that these days not many people actually read anymore. Everything is just so visual that the cost benefit isn't quite there. So as much as I love writing and reading, I would also like to join the ranks of those who can make money doing commissions or blowing up for their super cool art. I mean, I've always enjoyed creating in general, whether that's music, writing, drawing, or like construction and sculpting, like making things. So it'd be nice if I can do this for a living. Of course, my day job is like an attorney, so this is more actually just like stress relief. But I would love to have a career that is not so stressful. There is a reason why there is a high statistic for attorneys who use certain things, I'll just say. It's a very time heavy, high pressure, and stressful job. I am right now very lucky to be taking a quick break because health reasons. But I'm also not looking forward to having to get back in the office. Then again, I'm good at the job, so it's like, do what you're good at first, and then get good at what you like, right? It just so happened that my particular skill set is very matched up for the job of an attorney, because I can parse information quickly, I can write quickly, I write well also, and I'm a pretty good talker, or at least I can articulate my thoughts pretty clearly when I'm not tired, at least. But there's the catch. When are you not tired as an attorney? But anyways, I'm finding drawing to be a lot like writing, in that it varies a lot between different people. Everyone has their own kind of like path or viewpoint of how it works, but there are still like some basic building blocks. For writing, it's sentences and then paragraphing. For drawing, it seems to be just understanding shapes and lines. Of course, I'm like super duper simplifying things, but Honestly, you should be oversimplifying things. If you can't talk about it simply, then do you really know it? For example, a scene in writing is fundamentally just a moment in time. People will say that you need to show changes or like character motivation, or that the beginning should go into the middle where a rising conflict builds up and then it ends with a resolution, but not really. But I say that's still overcomplicating it a bit too much. Because if you're writing just for the sake of writing, you don't need to do all of that. You can just describe a place, describe some people, and then say what they're doing. It doesn't need to be a reason or rationale behind their actions. Just let them live and explore. Now, it's very different if you're writing for a specific purpose. Like if you are trying to do commercial writing and making a story that you intend to sell. In that case, what you're doing is you need to figure out what people want to read. So when you're building up the scene, you need to focus on the flow of events, or at least what your audience enjoys reading in a scene. If you're writing for a mystery audience, for example, a mystery reading audience, your scene should lay down useful clues for who the culprit is of whatever crime or mystery you're building. And then you should also probably do a lot of like red herrings, but not too many. It's basically the point of making your reader feel smart enough if they happen to chance upon the answer, while also not showing your hand too blatantly. In contrast, if you're writing, like, say, for, I don't know, a web novel. Oh no, let's say you're writing like a lit RPG. Your scenes can have things happen, but really your audience just kind of wants to see the numbers, the stats. So a good chunk of the scene writing should include those statistics, like battle data, experience points, levels, statistics, those sorts of things. The same, I think, is probably true with drawing. If you're just drawing for the sake of drawing, you don't have to worry about whether something looks right or if it's anatomically correct, because you're just making it look cool to you. But if you're trying to like put out a work for an audience, you have to kind of define your audience. If you want to do it for the general masses, it's going to end up being very like sanitized because everyone's taste is different. Not to mention that the algorithm will prevent certain things from popping up. So then the question becomes like, if you post art, are you posting art for your sake or for someone else's sake? Because if you're posting it for your sake, you shouldn't really expect anyone to like what you put out. If they do, it's nice. But the odds are that no one's going to like everything that you make as much as you like it. Although there's probably people who have the exact same taste as you, you have to remember that discoverability is also a concern when it comes to content creation. The people who really like your creations probably aren't on the exact same space as you are. You have to go where you're celebrated and go where the people who like you and like your work are. And that requires a bit of game planning, since if you just go in blind, you likely won't find your core audience. I mean, that's fine too. If you just want to like see and test things, you can just start throwing things out there and seeing what sticks. But you can also be strategic about it. It all depends on like your level of urgency or how impatient you are. If you have time and like are willing to just slowly see how things go, then that's okay. You just keep creating. You don't worry about whether people like it or not, or even how many people see it. And then in that way, you get the pure joy of just creating. But if you're concerned about having people view your work, you have to start thinking about the actual metagaming of things, and then seeing what is working, how it's working, and applying it and adapting your style so that it fits. Some people say that's disingenuous, but in the beginning, you don't have anything at all, so you don't have the luxury to choose. If you do, or decide to choose despite not having anything, then that's what people call a fool's errand or a dreamer. And you can dream as much as you want, like there's nothing wrong with it. But if you want practical results, you gotta be willing to actually do the proper research and everything. Now, of course, this might sound a bit hypocritical since I'm just like throwing things out there. But for me, this is more just like a showcase of things I can do right now. And like a log of my process and journey over things. I'm also just getting familiar with the space and medium. So this is more like experimenting rather than trying to stay. And that's also something else to understand. There is doing things to remain in a space, and then there is experimenting with things to push that space. No, that's not that clear. Let's see if I can rephrase this. It's like if you're using a skill, right? There's performing and then there's improving. Now, if you perform enough, odds are you'll eventually improve, just as a matter of constant attempts. But it's not like focused improvement. On the other hand, if you want to practice, you aren't showing anyone what you're doing because you're focusing on the skill and improving that skill. There's a problem though, because when you're performing, the moment you focus on trying to adjust your skill, you are inherently breaking it down. And that's no good. You're going to be sacrificing past performance for future improvement in the moment. The ideal performance state for a skill is to not worry about the quality at all of what you're doing, and then just sticking to the ingrained instincts and intuition you built up from repetition and practicing. At the same time, for practicing, if you do practice like you're performing, you won't improve. Because performing is just relying on what you have already. But when you're practicing, you're trying to get more than what you have. they are two different mindsets that should be kept in mind, because failing to do so will result in frustration. At least that's what I found in my experience. Initially, when I was writing a lot and then just learning, I kept trying to do both. Like, when I was updating and writing fanfictions in the very early days, I was experimenting with writing techniques at the same time as I was updating chapters of my fanfictions. But the problem is that your readers are expecting a certain style, and then if you go and suddenly change that style, what's going to happen is that the readers who initially came for a certain flavor are going to leave. Or if not leave, then they're going to at least be very put off, since what you are now providing is different from what they had come for. I think that this is probably a dilemma artists face too, because there's this push to get better, but at the same time there's a push to appeal. Sorry, gotta hydrate. But yeah, the push to appeal will result in trying to deconstruct and revolutionize your style, because you need that edge kind of. But the problem is that the edge you're looking for will shift your core audience. The people who were with you from the beginning saw how you were, and they enjoyed who you were. Although the loyal will follow you even if you change, you shouldn't expect people to follow you when you don't even know them really. If people aren't regulars, for example, you shouldn't expect them to stick around if you change something up. They came not for you, but for your product, what you created. And if what you created is no longer suited to their taste, they will leave. It's a very blunt but also straightforward state of being. Then the ideal is to get to a point where people enjoy you not for your work but for your personality. I mean, it's kind of like dating in a way. You can get people to like you for what you have, but you want to have someone who'll stay for who you are, even when you change. That becomes like a conscious choice then, instead of a emotional and conditional decision. But like with all things in life, that is the ideal and not the reality. It just so happens that in order to get the attention to be able to reach that point where you can find someone who will appreciate you as a person, you need to be able to show that you have things: skill, money, talent, work, something like that. Because it's not to get someone's attention per se, but to get your name out and to be able to be discovered. Because you can be the best in the world, but if no one knows who you are, then your expertise doesn't matter, since it's just an audience of one, you. So the step that you need to take is to find a way to get yourself out there. And I personally think the easiest way is to be good at something, like insanely good at something, to the level where you can confidently say, yes, I could do better than like 1,000 people if I got put in a room with them. For me, that would definitely be writing. I could sit down and crank out like 2,000 words in an hour, and it would actually be a sensical story. Of course, it would be like incomplete, but it would have a flow of events and build up to a greater story. I can confidently say that most people wouldn't be able to do that on the spot. Even a lot of published authors, I feel, would not be able to get put in a room and say, okay, now start writing a chapter. But I can. Well, pending like fatigue, of course, because writing when you're tired is a toss-up. You could just be like writing the same things over and over and over again without realizing it. Or you'll be starting to write something and realize that, oh wait, this completely contradicts what I wrote earlier. It's happened to me quite a bit. Speaking from personal experience. But yeah, you want to be super good at something and distinguish yourself. So you can say, hey, this is me. I do this compared to everyone else. Speaking personally right now, I think I'm gonna try to go with the kind of Renaissance man approach, or at least the skill grinder approach. Because I have a lot of skills I can do that I've picked up over the years that I've just never showcased or shared with anyone. I think it'd be fun to show that off. Whether people stay or not, I'll find out, because I think that it's probably gonna be not super mainstream. But you don't need to be mainstream either. Like, if you have super devoted followers, you don't need to worry about being supported. Let's see if I can find a proper analogy for this. I guess it'd be like a person willing to die for you is more valuable than 1,000 people that only like you or that only compliment you. Because words won't get you anywhere or anything, but actions will. And you want to find those people who are willing to do things for you because they believe in you and support you. The problem is that those people will likely be very difficult to find unless you are lucky. But luck is also pretty interesting to consider, since luck will help an outcome to occur, but simultaneously, if you continue throwing outcomes against the wall, eventually luck will trigger. It's like in a gacha game. even though it might take literally to pity. You can get an SSR if you keep summoning. It's like that in real life too. If you keep throwing your head against the wall, eventually the wall will break. It'll be painful. You probably say like, oh, why the hell did it take so long? But it will have happened, and you will have it. And once you have it, that's all you need. That's the funny thing about life, and I think success in general. All you need is one. You just need one moment, one time, one opportunity. It's like Eminem's song. So then you just have to stay in the game until you win. Don't leave until you do that. If you leave, then you lose, because this is a game where victory is determined by whoever stays the longest. I mean, like, case in point, there are plenty of YouTubers and streamers who started 3 years ago that had nothing. And now they're super successful. It wasn't luck. Completely. It was just that they stayed long enough to where luck came their way. Or I guess for some people it's when they hit the pity. That's another thing to consider too. Like, you really shouldn't be comparing yourself to other people, because although you're in the same space, you aren't doing the same things. It's kind of like when you consider walking down New York City, for example, right? You shouldn't look at a guy in a suit and then think like, oh my gosh, he's doing so much better than me. Because it could be that he's wearing a suit for an interview after failing to get a callback for 20 different opportunities. It could be that he's a high-end CEO. It could be that he's just modeling for something. The problem is that you don't know. So when you go look at people and you compare, you are comparing completely different things. It's literally apples to oranges. Sure, they're both fruit. Sure, they're both round. Sure, their colors are like around the same family, but they taste completely different. The internal texture is completely different. The way you eat them is completely different. And heck, even the dishes that you use them in are completely different. You don't make an orange pie. You make an apple pie. You don't make pulpy apple juice. That's literally applesauce. You don't make cider with oranges. You infuse them with oranges. So it's important to keep things in mind that you should always be comparing to your past self, because that person definitely walked the same path as you, definitely faced the same circumstances, and definitely is an indicator of where you should be and where you are. If past you wasn't able to understand a concept, but current you has, or current you can understand that concept, then congratulations, you have achieved a minor success. You should celebrate, because It's a tangible thing. However, if you compare yourself against someone else, you never really know if the comparison is proper. Like, you could look at someone wearing really raggedy clothes and think like, oh, I'm doing so much better than this guy. But maybe he's like literally the Nobel Prize winner, and today just happened to be the day that he forgot to do laundry. And then since he's so busy, he never actually does laundry and doesn't buy new clothes. So the only clothes he has left are like the 10-year-old clothes from the back of the closet that he usually never wears because he forgot he had it, and then had to scrounge out just whatever he could so he doesn't have to walk around naked. Huh, that's a very specific example I have there. I wonder if that's happened before. But yeah, that's important to consider. Everyone has a different story, and you might be walking in the same direction, but you likely don't have the same destination. And in that case, you have to make sure that you keep your destination in mind and not theirs. Like, you can walk with someone if they're going the same direction as you for a while, but you shouldn't walk with them all the way, because they're heading towards somewhere else, a place that you're not really welcome at, since it's not your life. You might have a place in it, but it's not yours, and you might be welcome for a little bit, but not welcome to stay. It's like is it a Chinese saying? Two great men cannot hold heaven together. You should expect to succeed mostly alone. If you can succeed with other people, that's a blessing. But you should not expect it, since only your own efforts are under the scope of your control. Results are never guaranteed, at least successful results. Experience is guaranteed. You'll learn from the actions you take and whatever comes about from those actions. But you are never guaranteed to achieve a particular result. There is always a chance that something completely wild happens. You could just blow up randomly. Like, literally. Since everything is made of atoms and molecules and energy, there's always the super duper minuscule chance that you just like collapse. I don't know the exact science behind it, but pretty sure that's a thing. If not, I'm gonna keep believing it because it helps put things in perspective. The perspective that unexpected things can happen. And so, you should gather as much experience as you can to be able to adapt to when unexpected things happen. And you should also prepare for the case where unexpected things happen. Like if you just drop dead randomly, for example. Did you organize everything so that whoever is cleaning up your room afterwards doesn't feel super awkward when they dig through what you left behind? Or did you set all your things online to disable, or did you tell someone else your login information in case? Since if you just suddenly disappear, who will really know online? What am I even talking about? This is the problem with rambling while trying to do other things. The brain just jumps to whatever is convenient and whatever is on the mind. Mine seems to be on life lessons, I guess, and philosophy. What's something fun to talk about? I want to talk about love, but love is like such a heavy topic too sometimes. Let's just see. I've just been kind of like mindlessly sketching these until now. Are they any better? I think they are in terms of capturing the pose. Like, the information I can capture by doing this has definitely increased. But I think it's gotten a bit sloppier since it's new. But I think I like this more since it kind of cleans it up. It's just that right now I seem to be in the habit of overlapping these gesture drawings, these figures. Oh, it's at 40 minutes already. Sheesh, time flies. If it's been 40 minutes, I've been sketching these at a rate of about 30 seconds each. That's 2 per minute, so I've done 80 so far, it looks like. I always say one doesn't really count. 10 requires luck to succeed. 100 and you're at betting odds. So have I improved at all in doing this to where this is worthwhile? Maybe. It might be time for me to try to render something, but I'm definitely doing that off stream because it requires full concentration and also very sloppy. But I think that now at least I've gotten to the point where I could probably do decent sketches for poses and things if I took my time and slowed down a little bit. So the next step for me likely will be to focus on the details, specifically the face, because right now I definitely cannot comprehend how to face. Like I understand the placement, but it just looks so ugly. I think I just don't understand the form of like the mouth and the nose And the eyes too. But like with everything, that requires repeated practice. I'm just trying to figure out how I practice doing that, since faces are like a different thing entirely. And I'm trying to like do the simplified forms. Like, what even would be the simplified form of face? Do I just literally something like that? Or do I do a skull? Because like for these poses, I'm mapping out roughly where all the stuff is. We have like, since I found the 3 mask thing, or since I finally clicked with me the 3 circles, and how they basically simplify the pose. I need to figure out how to do a similar thing for the face. Is it like, do I just start doing the lines, the guide marks? But I feel like that doesn't help much. I definitely should be like trying to quickly copy faces and stuff like this. Maybe that's what I need to do, just stockpile a bunch of pictures of people. Specifically like portraits. And then just grind away at that. Because I think I have a pretty good handle now on how to do at least like acceptable posing. Sure, this isn't like perfect, but I think I can get it to like C level if we were grading this. And honestly, that's pretty much enough. Because like I was talking earlier about performance will improve you too. The problem is that you have to be able to get to a point where you can perform. It's kind of like how you can be a professional and not be the best in the world. And then a professional is still paid for their work, even though it's not like the perfect, even though they don't win gold medals or tournaments. It's the same sort of deal. I think I am getting to the point where I can focus on performing. I might be able to start doing the webtoons soon. Oh, maybe that's something I should do. Just try to literally replicate panels from a webtoon I like. The problem is, I'm not sure where the copyright sits on that, since it would be a derivative work. No, that won't be good. It's probably better to just do... Well, if there are copyright-free webtoons or Creative Commons, Maybe I should go look at the classic comic books? I don't know. What else? Yeah, I think that's enough. I think I am competent enough to start doing things. At least maybe storyboarding. So I can like see where things stand. Because maybe. Yeah, because I think I think I've built the, what's it called, intuition for it. Because I can look at it and see if it's wrong. I don't know if I can make it right yet, but I think that's sufficient. Chasing perfection, after all, will just leave you stranded, since perfection is just an illusion too. It only exists in a moment. You can't have a perfect continuum or a perfect stretch of time, because perfection is complete. And if something is complete, you can't add to it. It's actually better to do flawed things, since there's a certain je ne sais quoi, is that what they say? I can't speak French. There's a certain thing to imperfection that people are drawn to as well. Let's see. Yeah, I might start doing faces next. The problem is just figuring out how to get a bunch of faces to practice off of. Do I just scroll through Facebook? No, not Facebook. I'm showing my age. Do I just scroll through Twitter or X and then grab a bunch of VTubers? I think that might be good, actually, because VTubers have so varied styles that trying to capture it all will expose me to different types of ways and illustrations, like all different styles. Because what's interesting, or no, not interesting, what's important to remember is that whatever you are is an average of all your experiences. That's why it's also important to filter what you're taking in. But yeah, it's probably a good idea for me to start doing that. Just getting a bunch of pictures of VTubers and their models, and then just attempting to understand their design, at least in terms of their face. I mean, I'll subconsciously be storing the other data too, about their outfits, their structure, poses and all that, their anatomy. But the important part is probably just understanding the face, since pretty face will let you go a long way in art. You can have wonky anatomy, but if your face is wonky, the one that you draw, well, I guess in real life too, they'll judge you harshly on that. They being the audience. So perfecting that is important. Not perfecting. The common vernacular. See, this is why you need to be choosy about what you take in. Recently, I've been watching a lot of self-help stuff and perfection, or not self-help, drawing tutorials. I don't know what it is. Some people just say perfect or perfecting it or making it the best. Like the old saying, only the Siths speak in absolutes, and perfection is absolute. It's important to just work, experience, get more experience, throw more attempts, vary everything, and then from that variation achieve what it is you're looking for. I don't know, I'm just kind of rambling at this point, trying to fill the silence. Because dead air is dead air. And I'm not trying to do tablet scratching ASMR. It'd be pretty funny. But that's not me then. Pretty tired. What time is it? It's getting pretty late. Let's just go a little bit longer. Unfortunately, I do not have the streamer capacity to go for very long streams yet. Like I mentioned last time, and I'll mention again, the objective should always be to make it so easy that the effort comes to be zero. It becomes effortless, because if something is effortless, you can repeat it infinitely, and consequently you can have many attempts, and with more attempts come more opportunity for the luck you have to kick in. And if that luck kicks in, you only need one. Well, as long as you know how to leverage it. So I guess technically it depends on if you know how to leverage it or not. If you don't, you might need more than one. Like if you get a viral clip, for example, and don't know how to capitalize that, then it's just a GG. Oh, I should probably clip stuff more. I don't have the time for that. I have too many projects, too many, what's the word, priorities in life to be doing that. I'm trying to perform, not improve. Improvements during performance are nice, but you do not, like I said earlier, you don't want to focus on improving while you are performing, since that's going to, in shorter words, kill the vibe. In longer words, it's gonna throw off both your rhythm of performance and then also like everything that ensues afterwards. Where are we at? Oh, we're at an hour. I guess we'll call it there. Is anyone here? Then I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Oh, that's the wrong screen. There we go.